Hey, Xancers, Anthony Rose. This is the video you need to see about two-step. We've talked about this a lot on our channel, how there's only a few basic things to do, but we'll guarantee you this. Watch this video from this moment to the end, and at the end of that, you're gonna be able to hit the floor dancing two-step and have all kinds of awesome stuff to do. All right, guys, there are only a handful of things that you can actually do in two-step, so what we suggest is to know what those basic things are. Now, in this video, we're not only just gonna teach you what those basic things are and how to do them, we're gonna cover that, but we're gonna show you guys lots of different ways to use it. We're actually, in this video, going to break down lots of different hand changes and turns you can do. This is all just the same stuff cycled over and over and over, so don't get confused into thinking you've gotta learn a bunch of stuff to know a bunch of stuff. You gotta know this stuff and then do that stuff a different way. Now, if you guys are new to this channel, you're gonna notice a little button down here, and that button says subscribe. And if you click on that button, you become an X-Dancer, and then you'll know when all the awesome stuff happens here on the channel. So we're gonna demonstrate the basic idea, and then we're gonna break down lots of cool stuff. Guys, this is the stuff we're gonna cover in this video. We're gonna teach all of this stuff by only teaching 3 different patterns. So starting from basic, the same stuff over and over. It just looks like different stuff, but we're going to teach you every bit of this along the way. And there you have it. It looks like a bunch of stuff, but this is actually just the same stuff. But first we have to teach you the core of this stuff and then show you all the different ways to use it. All right, guys, like we said, this is the video you need to watch. You need to understand everything in this. So we need a promise from you guys, pinky promise,
serious,
that you guys will watch this to the end because the good stuff happens towards the end. But in order to get to the good stuff, there are some basic ideas that we need to cover first that build into those things. You need to understand, because if you just go to the end of that stuff, it's not gonna make any sense at all. Now, we did produce another video called The 3 Basic Steps. That is in the card up above. But watch that if you want to, but we're gonna cover the basic idea of this concept and then get into all the stuff that we just showed you. Okay, in two-step, there are only 3 basic steps. Later on, there's a 4th, but we're not gonna talk about that today. The first basic step is rhythmical walking. That's just quick, quick, slow, slow in a straight line. The second of the basic steps is she turns 1.5 turns to the right. So she's facing backwards and she ends up facing forward. In this case, excuse me, we're in a promenade. Now she's turning to the left, she's facing forward, so she turns 1.5 turns to the left and ends up facing backwards. These are your basic steps, and I really suggest you guys really understand that, how that works, because everything that we did, even if you just rewound that and watch that dancing session again, you're gonna notice that stuff just happening. It just looks like new things, okay? So in the video that we covered before, we talked about this concept, but we never really broke down the stuff that we danced. We just showed you how it works. So in this video, we're gonna break down the concept really quick again, and then we're gonna show you how to do all of that stuff, okay? So again, your basic ideas, first step is quick, quick, slow, slow in a straight line. Now I'm still facing forward. She's gonna turn 1.5 turns to the right and end up facing forward, and we land in this promenade. From here, she can turn to the left 1.5 turns, and now she's facing backwards. These are your 3 options. 90% of the time, you're gonna do this stuff, okay? So now we just have to learn how to do that stuff in different ways. So the segment that we just danced on the fly just a minute ago is just those 3 things. All we're really doing is switching hands to make it look like a new thing, okay? Right. So the first thing that we taught or that we danced was the basic step going into the sweetheart, okay? So now she's facing backwards, we did rhythmical walking in a straight line. Then she turns 1.5 turns to the right and she's facing forward. All I did was switch hands, and then I let her for a free spin. She turns 1.5 turns to the left and now she's facing backwards. If you were to watch the feet on that versus the basic into the right turn of the promenade, it's exactly the same. There's really no difference. So if you watch this, we have to talk about equivalence. An equivalent is just something that's equal to something else. So if we did that first basic that we did rhythmical walking, I turn her 1.5 turns to the right, I get up almost next to her and she lands in that promenade. The equivalent of that is doing the same thing, but ending up in that sweetheart position. So I'm walking her backwards, rhythmical walking. Now she turns 1.5 turns to the right, ends up facing forward, and all I do is switch hands. Now, when we landed earlier in the promenade position, we ended up here, and I turned her 1.5 turns to the left to where she ends up facing me. Now, what we've done here is we've ended up in that promenade position and let her go for a free spin, and she does exactly the same thing. So let's talk about that sweetheart position and how to turn that basic turn into the sweetheart. Let me show you that hand position. All right, so for that basic turn, I just rotated her around that halo that goes around her head while I stepped up to her, and we did quick, slow, and we landed in that promenade. Now, the body is going to do exactly the same. The footwork, the timing, the rhythm, everything's the same for both of us. The only difference is I'm taking this, my left hand, which is her right hand, and handing it off to my right hand in the middle of that turn. So if we're here and we're getting ready to turn her, instead of keeping that hand, once I start rotating her, I take that hand, I hand it off to the right, and then continue that turn all the way around until she ends up facing forward, and now I have her in this sweetheart position. All right, so for that basic left turn from a promenade, she's beside me. I turn her with my left hand over her head 1.5 times. I'm still doing quick, slow. She's still doing quick, slow. I just let her pass me. So again, that first one we did for that basic was just turning her 1.5 turns to the left until she faces me. Now the difference with the sweetheart is we have a different handhold, which is called the sweetheart position. Now she's still gonna do the same thing. I'm still gonna do the same thing. It's still quick, slow. She still passes me. She turns 1.5, the whole thing. The only difference is I let go completely of the right hand. I take that left hand, send her out with it, let go, and she knows to face me at the end of that. So let me show you that part close up. So from this position, I'm just gonna let go of this right hand completely, taking this left hand into this space, and once it gets in there, I let go of it and free spin her out. So what that looks like together is just rhythmical walking. I turn her to the right. Now I'm gonna switch the hand, picking up that other, and then immediately free spin her out. All right, guys, from this point forward, everything else we'll do in this set is the same footwork. So now that we've got the basic idea of maybe you're walking in a straight line, maybe you're not, most of the time we're not. We're actually gonna walk in a straight line much less than we're going to turn. But it's going to be with her facing backwards, turning 1.5 turns to the right until she ends up facing forward down the line of dance. Then she's going to turn to the left 1.5 times, going from forward to the left, and end up facing backwards. So again, she is facing backwards. I turn her 1.5 turns to the right. Now she's facing forward, and now she turns to the left, and she ends up facing backwards. So the next thing that we did, once we gave her that free spin, we ended up in this patty cake hold. All right, this is like high five, right? From here, what's she gonna do? She's facing backwards, so she has to turn to the right, and she ends up facing what? Forward. So all I'm gonna do is take this hand over her head and then bring it down to her waist. Now at this point, she's facing forward, I'm up beside her again, and now she's gonna turn to the left. So she's facing forward, she's gonna turn to the left and end up facing both of us backwards, and I catch the elbow. Let me show you that. So I've got this patty cake position, I'm turning that over her head, and then I bring it down. The important thing here is I place that hand down low so that my arm ends up underneath hers, which means she's got to keep that left arm over top of mine, okay? From this point, now I'm just gonna take that hand, I'm gonna bring it through here and then over her head, and I bring it here and I begin to turn. But what's happening now, as her elbow, her opposite elbow presents itself, I'm placing my left hand over top of that elbow, and I catch that on the first slow, and then from there I take that right hand behind my head, and we're both facing backwards. So she went from facing backwards to facing forward, 1.5 turns, that arm's underneath, and then she's facing backwards, and I'm facing backwards with her. So from this position, what's she gonna do? She's facing backwards, so she has to turn to the right to face forward. I'm gonna release this right hand that's up top. I'm gonna use her elbow. We're both gonna turn 1.5 times until we face forward and we catch that opposite hand. This is exactly the same stuff again. Let me show you that close up. So I've got my hand over top of her elbow. This hand is up here. I'm just gonna completely let go of this hand. I'm gonna use that elbow that I have over top. I'm gonna turn her inwards with that. We're both gonna turn 1.5 times. At the end of that, I'm gonna pick up that hand, which should be available to me at that point. So hopefully you're starting to see a pattern here. She turns to the right, she turns to the left, she's facing backwards, forward, all that stuff. But if not, we wanna break down again, just demonstrate everything we've done so far. So we started at a basic dance hold. We've walked her rhythmical walking. Now she does what? She turns to the right and she ends up facing forward. That's 1.5 turns. Now she's gonna turn to the left and face backwards. I go to a patty cake. She turns to the right and faces forward. Now she turns to the left and faces backwards. Now guess what? She turns again and faces forward. So we ended that with her facing forward. So now she does what? She turns to the left and she ends up facing backwards. Now this is another time where the leader gets to turn too. Now followers, just know, just because he's doing something, that doesn't mean you do something, all right? You don't have to do something because you see him doing something. You still do your thing and allow him to do his thing. So what we've done is we've ended up here where we're side to side. So the next thing that happens is as I turn her to the left, I'm gonna pick up that hand, ask for it. That's quick, quick, slow. Guess what? She's facing backwards. She's just gonna step backwards now as I turn underneath that arm, okay? So I'm turning on the second slow. She just does 1.5 turns. So she's turning 1.5 and she ends up stepping half, 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 none. That's her degree of turns through the step. Half a turn, half a turn, half a turn, and then she just steps. Same as every other pattern we've got here, by the way. She's gonna step half, half, half. Now she's gonna step straight back as I go underneath, okay? So let me show you that close up. All right, so I'm leading her inward. She's gonna turn 1.5, but in the middle of that, I'm catching that hand. That's quick, quick, slow. At this point, you'll notice that my hand is actually pointing towards her. So I've switched my hand to where my palm is facing her. That's really important. She's gonna be stepping backwards, but as she does that, I'm turning underneath that arm until I'm facing her. All right, so again, it is quick, quick, slow. I've got my hand pointing outwards and slow. Guess what she's gonna do now? She's facing backwards, so she's gotta turn 1.5 turns to the right for quick, quick, slow, slow. That's called a shoulder catch. We'll show you that part. So she's facing backwards. I'm just turning her around that halo over her head again. She's turning 1.5 to face forward. But as she finishes that, I receive the shoulder over top and then catch her there. You'll notice that hand is actually rotated behind her back by rotating it back, pulling it back behind the back of her head. So if we watch that again, it's rotating around that halo. I'm catching the shoulder on the first slow, extending by rotating her shoulder through for the second slow. So it's quick, quick, slow, catch the shoulder for slow. Now here we're gonna do a barrel roll. She's facing forward, so she has to turn 1.5 to the left to face backwards, and this time I'm going with her for quick, quick, slow. She's facing backwards for slow. Leaders, you gotta be able to turn too. Don't just rely on her to do. Sometimes you gotta do stuff too. So, and then you'll understand her pain, is what we're saying. So we're in the shoulder catch position, and I'm gonna turn with her for quick, quick, slow, slow. Let's talk about that. So from here, I'm bringing the hand down. This is like a barrel, right? It rolls, right? You gotta create a big circle. So the hand comes down, and we're rolling through. We both turn, it comes over top. Then we bring the hand down to a lower height on the first slow and extend out so we're both facing backwards on the second slow. So we'll show you that again. Same rhythm, same degree of turn for her. It's just quick, quick, slow, slow. So we're leading her into that shoulder catch. Then we do the barrel roll for quick, quick, slow, and then back for slow. Now we're just both gonna do a inside free spin. So we're doing a double free spin where we're both turning 1.5, quick, quick, slow, picking up that opposite hand for slow, and then leaders, you just chuck her out there for quick, quick, slow, slow. That's another 1.5. So everything that she's done, like literally, if you were to watch us dance this whole segment from the waist down, you wouldn't be able to tell that she's doing anything other than turning to the right and turning to the left 1.5 times, facing backwards and forward, okay? So if we watch this whole thing again, we're gonna break this down piece by piece. We have a basic for quick, quick, slow, slow. Now she turns 1.5 to the right and ends up facing forward. I switch the hands into that sweetheart. Now I'm giving her 1.5 turns to the left. She ends up facing me, so she's facing backwards. Now she's in front of me, so I gotta get up next to her again, bringing the hand over the head, down below her arm. She's facing forward. I bring the hand around her back, over her top, catch the elbow. Here, she's facing backwards. Now we're both gonna free spin for quick, quick, slow. I pick her up over top of the arm. Now I'm giving her one more turn. I'm catching that hand in the middle, quick, quick, slow. I slip through for the second slow. I'm turning her over top of her head, shoulder catch, quick, quick, slow, slow. We have our barrel roll. She's facing forward. She turns 1.5 and ends up facing backwards. This is a side-by-side free spin, so we're both turning 1.5, quick, quick, slow, picking up that hand again. And the last thing we're gonna do is send her out to finish. So what we're telling you guys is stop making it so darn complicated. It is literally like the same stuff over and over. Now, this whole segment that we did can be broken down into just individual pieces. You don't have to do it in this order, but I think a lot of times with their students, like if they're having trouble as a leader, what comes next? Like I can't think of anything, they kind of go brain dead for a second. Practice it as a little set and just kind of do it in repetition, and then start taking the pieces and breaking them down and just leading them individually. You just got to figure out how to switch hands and all that stuff. So from the leader's point of view, he's mostly walking alongside of her. Obviously, you can tell sometimes he turns also. The followers, you're turning to the left and turning to the right. Yeah. One final note that I want to cover. We talk a lot about the basic step of two-step, being quick, quick, slow, slow, walking in a straight line, that rhythmical walking, and that is technically the basic step. But if basic means the most common thing, the thing you do repetitively, your basic step isn't that walking, it is turning to the right to face forward, turning to the left to face back. So followers, what you need to be practicing the most is that. So rather than practicing quick, quick, slow, slow, like literally followers, just I'm facing forward, I turn 1.5 turns to the left, now I'm facing backwards, and I turn 1.5 turns to the right and I face forward. That's what you practice, because that's what you're going to be doing more than anything else, okay? So we want to thank you guys so much for watching. If you'd like to learn more and more variations, more hand changes, I mean, there's literally hundreds of things you can do based from this system. Check out xdanceuniversity.com. That is our new virtual training platform. It's almost the same thing as having us coach you individually, because like you can break things down, you can ask a question virtually, get answers to your problems, all that stuff. Go to Xdance University, all of your life problems. Go to xdanceuniversity.com, check that out. You can get a free month, check that platform out, see if you like it, and then we'll see you guys next time. Ready?
I'm really lightheaded, I'm falling into you too. That image, that guy was just shirtless, driving down the road, so happy.
You might not have had any pants on either.
No judgment.
You never know.
No judgment.
All right, so I'm taking that hand over her head, over her head. Quick, slow. Now, if you notice at this point, I've turned my hand to face outwards. I've turned my hand.